Broadcasting live from an Airstream somewhere in Tornado Alley, bringing you the people, places, and stories from the Panhandle to the Red River. This is your Only in Oklahoma show.
Have you ever thought to yourself, where is the center of the universe? Now, I think I'm the center of the universe, but I think that Tulsa may have an argument that they may actually, in fact, have the center of the universe. We'll find out. I'm Brett.
And I'm Harley.
So you did, like you normally do when you've got out-of-towners visiting, you went on a road trip.
We did go on a road trip.
Specifically for a Tulsa adventure.
Specifically for a Tulsa adventure, specifically to go to the center of the universe. But you also did some fun activities this weekend. What did you do exactly?
I haunted the zoo during the day.
How does that work exactly?
So, Haunt the Zoo typically, for the last, I think they've been doing Haunt the Zoo for the last, 30 years plus, has typically been done at night. You kind of trick or treat, and it's Haunt the Zoo. I mean, it's really hard to haunt anything during the day. But this time around, they've done a few things differently, and I think a lot of it is due in part to lack of attendance during this thing that we're experiencing, the thing that shall not be named, kind of we know what we're talking about. So
the Voldemort
of illnesses, 2020 year of the Voldemort. So what they did this time is rather than pay whatever it, I haven't had a small child in 20 years. So it was, I guess typically in the past, you pay a small price, you go, you trick-or-treat different vendors, and then you're done, and it's at night. This time, they charge a normal gate admission, then you buy a bag, and you kind of go around to these trick-or-treat spots, but you can still see the animals and take part in all the zoo activities on a socially distant basis, in the sense that, like, when you go into the herbarium to see the snakes, they only let 7 people in at a time. So there's lines for different exhibits. Some exhibits weren't open. The trick-or-treating, some of the stops had tubes. You've seen, I think everybody's seen the trick-or-treat PVC tubes that we're going to this year, where they put it down the chute, you put the bag at the end. It was interesting, mainly because it's the 13-year-old's probably his last year to trick-or-treat. You know how it goes.
Sure. So Carson is 6 months old.
6 months old.
How did Carson enjoy his first trick-or-treating experience?
So the good news is you've met Carson. He does not like to touch the ground.
He doesn't like anything.
He doesn't like anything. He actually did really well. Most of her family went. So it was my turn to hold him, my turn to hold him. We literally didn't I don't think we touched our son in 6 hours. And when we did, it was time to go home. So he did pretty well. He dressed as a werewolf, and I'm telling you right now, if you haven't seen the pictures, or if you have, he's the cutest werewolf you will, since David in American Werewolf in London. But I kept thinking to myself, do you remember the scene in American Werewolf in London when David first turns back at the zoo? He's at the London Zoo, and the kid comes up and goes, "Mom, a naked American man stole my balloons." I kept thinking that. And I actually saw some balloons. I was going to do that, but I didn't think it was. Yeah, it was a ton of fun. It was it was different. I think everything that we did that was normal last year, if they're doing it this year, it's just weird. It's just weird.
Yeah,
I know it's hard to haunt the zoo when it's 80 degrees outside. But I will say, the weather over the weekend was really nice. It was windy as all get out. I mean, you would know that. You're in Tulsa. You were outside. But weather was great. It was a good day to be at the zoo. I think it's cool that and I'm telling you right now, if they didn't hit an attendance record on Saturday, I'll be shocked. There was a ton of people. And if you start putting a ticket price on each of those, I don't care if you're a zoo friend or not. I mean, they were handing out tons of candy. There were tons of people there. I mean, the places that were open to the public were packed. I mean, so good for them. I mean, I think it's a great way for them to kind of pivot. I didn't really complain at all about having to pay the gate fee to get in. I think it's good for them. I mean, considering the zoo doesn't happen unless we're paying for it.
Absolutely.
And the OKC Zoo, I think we all know they put a lot of money. If you've been out there in the last 12 months, you know that they're always got something under construction. There's always something coming soon, and those things don't happen regardless of what you feel about zoos or not. I think it's good for Oklahoma. It's good for everyone involved in it, and I think they're doing it this weekend and maybe next weekend. So good on them. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I had more fun than I thought I would. I love to look at snakes, and I got to do that. So
well, while you were checking out the snakes and the herbivores and the carnivores,
lions and tigers and bears,
I was investigating a mysterious acoustic phenomenon. And we'll get to that right after this. So taxes in the news. Apparently, there was at least 1 year where the president of these great United States paid only $700 in taxes. As a billionaire, that's a very small tax bill.
But how many deductions does a guy like that have?
Well, I think that you really have to have an expert on your side to go in with billions of dollars and somehow come out with $700 owed.
I don't know if my taxes will be that cheap, but if they are, I'll know because I'm going to call Holiday Tax Group.
The Holiday Tax Group would be a great addition to any billionaire's tax preparation program.
Now, if you're a billionaire, though, I don't think you get a discount. I think you've got if you're only paying $700 in taxes, you got a pretty good discount. But if you're military or teaching personnel, 20% off.
I don't know if a billionaire's tax preparers offer a free 30-minute consultation, but I do know that Holiday Tax Group offers a free 30-minute consultation, and you can get that by calling 405-730-3100.
So even tightwads can get free tax advice.
Absolutely.
And then if you don't have a phone, and you just have the internet because you're at the library and you don't have a cell phone, you can try holidaytaxgroup.com. That's holiday with 2 L's. So many moons ago, every other show was an anomaly or a mystery or a witch's grave.
So we started this show. We started in podcasting based on odd,
the weird
travel destinations.
Mm-hmm.
And some of that is carried over into the OnlyinOKShow. We are fascinated by the weird stuff.
Yeah.
The parallel forests.
Yeah.
The haunted Gilcrease Museum. Or the center of the universe in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Or I remember watching a water fountain at the fair that just seemingly came out of the air. Do you remember that?
I do not remember that.
But it's not as cool. Now that I see how they did it, it's definitely not as cool as the center of the universe.
So Amber's brother comes to town to spend the week from Seattle, Washington, and he only wants to do one thing when he gets off this plane.
Really?
He wants to go to the center of the universe in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I've read all about it. I want to go. I've wanted to go for years. Thought, for years.
Okay. Huh.
And I thought, we really need to cover that for the show, so let's go. And Saturday morning, we loaded up the car and headed out to T-Town. And I'll start with the parking situation.
Okay.
You get to downtown Tulsa, and you're in a quad cab pickup truck, and you need to find a place to park.
Good luck, man.
A little difficult.
Unless you've got one of those Lime scooters or, I don't know, a Vespa or some eco-friendly. It's not compact friendly.
It's definitely not truck friendly.
Yeah.
You got to be in a compact car. So we drove around in circles for probably a half an hour looking for the end spot because you could do a little overflow into the extra white lines at the end of a block.
Okay. Yeah.
So finally found a parking space, and then Google said, the center of the universe is right over there.
Yeah. You are here. Yeah.
And we walked around for a little bit before we figured out that the center of the universe is slightly different than what Google says the center of the universe is.
Okay. So by comparison, contrast, give me the...
It was off by a block.
Really?
Yes.
Well, maybe Google's not sure where the center of the universe actually is.
I'm thinking that it's a physics anomaly, and Google just can't lock in on it.
Well, if you ask New York City, their claim to fame is not only are they the Big Apple, but they're also the center of the universe as well. So maybe that's it. Maybe there's maybe there's a slip. There's like a slip in the Matrix or something.
So by this point, if you don't know what the center of the universe is, you're probably wondering, what the hell are you guys talking about?
Right.
So the so-called center of the universe is in downtown Tulsa. It is on a bridge that goes over some railroad tracks right next to the old Union Train Depot, which is now the Oklahoma Jazz Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't go to the Oklahoma Jazz Hall of Fame because we actually didn't realize that was the Oklahoma Jazz Hall of Fame. We thought it was the train depot because it still has the train depot insignias in stone over the doors.
Okay. So jazz hands fail. Nice.
So there is a small circle of bricks in the middle of this bridge, halfway from one side to the other.
Mm-hmm.
If you stand in the center of these bricks, there is an acoustic anomaly that happens.
Mm-hmm.
When you're standing in the middle of the bricks, and people explain it differently, like you think you're yelling, but people on the outside of the bricks can't hear you. It's not really it. When you're standing in the center of these bricks, your voice sounds really loud to you, but it doesn't sound as loud outside. It sounds like you're talking in your own ears.
Really?
Which is kind of strange. So we were playing around with the concept of the acoustic anomaly, leaning out, standing out, seeing how far you could step away. And you really have to be in the center of this thing, but if you lean out, it goes away. If you stand on the outside and you lean in, it's there again. So a lot of people explain this differently. They have a lot of explanations for what it might be. A lot of it is, this is a normal physics answer. There's some bouncing acoustic.
It just sounds like it's kind of conjecture.
It really is. So they say, there are planners all around it. Uh-huh. And so the sound bounces equally from all the planners. Well, there's nothing equidistant anywhere around.
Okay.
The walls of the bridge they are short.
Yeah.
And there are some planters there, but it's not like a perfect circle of planters. And it didn't matter which way you were facing in this circle. Mm-hmm. If you were standing in that point and you started talking, it sounded like you were talking in your own ears.
So I have a confession to make. I have been to the Center of the Universe Festival, a handful of times before they stopped doing it. I did not know. I was probably 40 years old when I realized that that the Center of the Universe was actually something more than just a music festival.
Really?
I had no idea. I literally walked that bridge to the Brady district.
How did you miss it?
I have no clue.
Literally, it's not yellow bricks, it's red bricks, but they have a red brick road that circles in.
Yes.
Like a vortex to the center of the bridge.
Don't have a clue. I have no idea.
Did you at least see the landmark, the artificial cloud statue?
I missed it. I don't know how I missed it.
It's 50 feet tall.
I know. I'm a terrible Oklahoman. I have tunnel vision sometimes.
Oh my God. So for people trying to find it, it's accessible from the corner of West Archer Street and North Boston Avenue. It's located directly northwest of the old Union Train Depot. It is impossible to miss in the daylight. Maybe you went at night.
I was there I've been there daytime, nighttime, midday. I mean, I've been to Tulsa more times than I've probably been to Bricktown.
I was actually thinking that at night it would be hard to find, but then I realized now that I'm saying that there are light up bricks.
Yeah,
in the walkway.
There's light up. I don't know, and I remember seeing light up bricks. You should probably throw just regular bricks at me, not light up, just the regular kind, and just brick me to death. I had no idea.
That kills me. So was the music festival at least good?
Oh, it was really cool. It took place all down. You walk by Cain's Ballroom, and it was kind of in the back alley, and there was a big stage. I saw DJ Jazzy Jeff, which is really hard to say fast. It was a ton of fun. Had a bunch of fun. Music everywhere. That's where I first signed the medical marijuana petition. I mean, I was in the middle of, I was doing stuff. It wasn't like I was just there for business.
And you didn't notice the crowd of people standing in the middle of the bridge going, oh my God, I can't believe that. I can hear myself. It sounds like I'm talking in my ears.
Just because I'm outside doesn't mean I want to be around people, which is kind of an oxymoron when you go to a music festival. I was there to do one thing, music, and then go back to the hotel. So yeah, I know. Massive fail.
So this bridge, though, it was built in the 80s. There are a ton of crackpot ideas about what causes this. And a lot of people have some, like cosmic vortex ideas and that sort of thing. I can't find a clear explanation for what's causing this phenomenon, but it is definitely unique. It is definitely weird. If you're like an acoustic engineer,
Explain it.
I would love an explanation. But otherwise, it's a cool phenomenon. It's definitely something that if you're in the Tulsa area, it's worth a stop. It was a lot of fun.
Your brother-in-law is one example of people come from all over.
For the weirdest things.
For the absolute weirdest things. We talk about this story all the time about going to New Mexico in this picturesque mountain range, and this lady, this cashier, her only thing she ever wanted to do was come to Oklahoma City. There are weird things here. People come from, you're right, they come for the weirdest reasons. She wanted to go to Bricktown. That's it. And right on the canal.
Yeah,
but the center of the universe. Out of all these people that have been, no one has a real answer.
I've searched. I cannot find a real answer. I looked. We spent quite a while there, and I was trying to figure it out. I was trying to figure out what is causing this phenomenon.
But do you, as somebody that's interested, and we both are, interested in things that are weird, do we want the answer? Or is it is it more fun? Was magic more fun before the internet? Probably.
Yeah, I don't know.
What I mean?
I don't know if I want anybody to explain the Whisper Chamber, honestly, but maybe I do. I don't know. I feel like I have feelings on both sides of that particular fence. But as far as a destination, people love this place. People have chosen this spot for proposals, engagement pictures, marriages.
Yeah, marriage. I mean, everything.
So, I can see why they call it the center of the universe.
And, not to mention, there's a lot of really cool things to do just in that area. It's not like where you go to the spot in the road and that's pretty much it, and then you've got to drive another 50 miles. It's not a on the way there stop.
Oh, yeah. So there are a ton of things to do in Tulsa. It's definitely not a day trip situation.
Oh, yeah.
We turned it into a day trip, but it's definitely not a day trip situation. Just in that area, you've got Cain's Ballroom, which we could talk about a little bit if you want.
Yeah, there's a history lesson. There is so much history, good, bad, or indifferent in Tulsa. And one of the coolest places I've ever been on a whim is Cain's Ballroom.
Really?
Yes. I've been known to go, hey, there's a concert in Tulsa, Cain's. All right, cool, let's go. Back before I had kids and really had any real direction in my life. But, yes. Now, the cool thing about Cain's, though, it wasn't always a ballroom. It was built as a garage to store cars in.
Okay, so before we get too deep into Cain's Ballroom and the other stuff they call it the Brady Art District.
Yep.
I like doing concerts.
Mm-hmm.
I like going to who did we see at the BOK Center?
Rush.
We saw Rush at the BOK Center.
Mm-hmm.
Great show.
Yeah.
But give me the Cain's Ballroom experience.
Oh yeah, it's
over the glass and concrete of the BOK Center any day.
What I will say about Cain's is while yes they've done a lot to improve and a lot to update, but they've also preserved the character of what the original Cain's Ballroom is and was. Still has the hardwood floors. It still has the wood beams, and it even has the sign that's been there. Probably it'll be the last thing to go. The home of Bob Wills. I mean, it is a storied location, not only for concerts but just entertainment. It's a hub of entertainment.
And let's be honest.
Yeah.
Anybody in the music industry from an icon standpoint, that's made their way through Oklahoma, has played Cain's.
So we've talked a few times on a few different shows about Bob Wills and the Texas Playboys.
Yes, we have.
And they've played everywhere from Medicine Park to everything in between, and they were regulars. They were basically almost like the house band for Cain's Ballroom. And in fact, they had a regular radio show out of there whilst Cain's was being used for a dance academy.
Really?
You know how much it costs to go to Madison Cain's Dance Academy?
I do not.
You could get dance lessons for 10 cents.
Really?
Yeah.
And this was in the 20s?
20s, 30s. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Now, the other thing, another thing that I like so much about it is that it's been a few things over the course of, golly, 70 years.
Yeah, but that's what makes it
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. And you can, when you go in there, you can still, there's this something, you ever go into places and you can just
Feel the history?
You can feel the history. You can almost hear the whispers.
Yes.
And you can hear the music before the music starts playing. Everyone from Elvin Bishop, now I don't know, a lot of people don't know who that is, but you remember a song called Fool Around and Fell in Love?
Yes.
That's Elvin Bishop.
A Tulsa native.
Tulsa native played there. And even the Sex Pistols played there in 1978.
That is so cool.
Now, interesting fact. Sid Vicious. We've all heard stories, tell stories about Sid. He actually punched a hole in the dressing room sheetrock, and they kept it.
Did they put a piece of
Nope, they left it.
plexiglass over the top
I
so
think
that
so.
you
I think they
can't
did.
do anything to it? That's awesome.
Yeah. So what I love, and what's one of the saddest losses, I think, of 2020 is the lack of access to live music. You know, they've started pushing this. There's this new movement called Save Our Stages. Now, the Paramount Room in downtown has fallen victim to closure because we're not able to have those concerts that so many people crave, because there's so many. Oklahoma, when you think about it, it's not just about the Chesapeake or the BOK Center, which those places are great. I've been to a bunch of, both of us have been to, I mean, you saw Robin Williams at what was the Ford Center.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The Star Wars Orchestra. I mean, there's a ton of big events that happen, but you look at venues like the Diamond Ballroom, Cain's Ballroom, Brady Theater, all these places that have been thriving and surviving for, I don't know, since the golden ages.
Seriously.
Have only been closed for a handful of times, for a handful of moments, are now suffering the consequence. I'm ready to get back to normal, to where we can have these things again. And I think we're well on our way. But yeah, Cain's, it really is. If you're ever in Tulsa and there's an opportunity for you to see a band, I don't give a damn if they're playing Tiddlywinks or they're playing covers of Alice in Chains. You need to go just to feel the freaking place breathe.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I feel like there are lots of places in the state that fall into that category.
Right.
And Cain's is definitely one that you've got to experience at least once.
Absolutely. So the other thing I like about Tulsa, and there are a lot of great places around here, but Tulsa's a great destination because, man, there's literally, it's hard to decide what you want to eat.
It is. And to that point,
yeah,
we were having difficulties with that because
there's so many things.
Well, I'll start off. So we headed out in the morning. Amber's brother David, he is an early riser, and he's got some medication that he has to take in the morning, so he has to eat breakfast early. So he's not a big eater. Like, he kind of eats 2 meals a day.
Right.
And when I'm on a road trip, I'm like, we gotta stop here and get some cheese fries, and we gotta stop there. And so at the same time, he wanted to go to the center of the universe.
Yeah.
And then he's really not hungry, and I'm trying to be a gracious host, so I'm not bringing anything up. It finally got to a point where he was ready to eat.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, now I only get one shot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in Tulsa. I've got to try something new.
Mm-hmm.
If not for me, if not for my soul,
yeah,
then for the show.
Mm-hmm.
So, quick Google search, and I found the restaurant that we had to go to.
Mm-hmm.
It is, according to Google, the most eclectic restaurant in the state of Oklahoma.
Really? That is a tall order.
That is a tall order. It's called Spudder's.
Okay.
And we looked at the menu online, like, yeah, this sounds awesome. Let's go check it out.
Uh-huh.
So we pull into the parking lot, and
Mm-hmm.
it's dead. I was like, shit.
Yeah, that's always like, oh boy, like a red flag.
But it was a little early. So we get it. There are some cars parked by the building, and we get out, and we're going to go check to see if they're open. And a family hops out of another truck, and in typical Oklahoma fashion, the guy gets out and he goes, "Hey guys, y'all from here? You been here before?" And I was like, "Nope." How are you? And he's like, "So we came here for the first time last week. It is amazing."
Wow.
And so we're talking in the parking lot with this random guy who decided to tell us all about Spudders before we went in. And they just don't open until 5, and we were there like 20 minutes early. So we wait out in the parking lot until they open up and go inside. Dude, it's hard to explain. It is a menagerie of old signs and billboards and
just quirky Americana.
Yeah, but it's not, it all fits. It's not like they just threw it up.
Right.
And decided, like, everything is cool. And you're
there's a flow and there's a kind of a.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're not just throwing a bunch of decor at you.
The lamps on the walls are all old signs.
Really?
Like yellow cab signs and
cool.
old Cadillac signs from, like, neon signs.
Wow.
It was a blast, but the food is amazing. If you're in Tulsa, and it's a little on the pricey side, I will say.
I think most restaurants, though, if you think of restaurants that are open for dinner, I think you pay a little more. Expect to pay more.
Well, not only do you expect to pay more, it's a little on the pricey side, but their menu is a little limited. You're not going to find there is no grilled cheese sandwich on the menu.
Sorry, kids, no chicken strips.
No, they did have a kids portion, but also even that was kind of limited. It's basically steak or fish.
The junior mignon on the kids menu.
Exactly. So ended up spending quite a bit of money, but it was worth every dollar.
I think when you're out of town, I think it's okay, especially if you're there for the weekend. Eat cheap a couple times, maybe just eat a snack or two, but plan at least one, whether it's your last dinner there or your last breakfast, make it count. Do one, you know what I mean? If you're going to do it, I mean, you might as well spring for the money. And furthermore, if it's a steak restaurant, I mean, I expect to pay. I'm sorry.
Sure.
I mean, if I'm going there and they've got 10 things on the menu and all of them end with beef, I'm probably going to spend the premium, and that's what I expect out of something like that. And again, you describing the decor. They've obviously sunk a ton of money into making this place look it's not just a steak and ale.
Absolutely not.
For sure.
And there are a whole lot of weird little idiosyncrasies with the restaurant.
Yeah.
They serve their dinner rolls in what appears to be an old iron worker's lunchbox.
Like something your grandpa would bring home from the coal mine?
Yeah, it was just different.
Yeah.
But it was a blast. It was good eats. We spent the whole day, though, checking out Tulsa. The gathering place is cool. The architecture and greenery around the gathering place is amazing. They have these 2 little weird tunnels that you drive through on the main strip there.
Really?
I've never seen anything like them. And I was like, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Well, I don't know if we've talked about it, but the gathering place, I believe it was in either 2018 or 19, was ranked in the top 10 places to visit in America.
I'm not shocked at all. The traffic going in and out of this place was insane.
And I think, again, not to give any credence to COVID, but I think that has a lot to do with it.
I think to a degree, yeah. I mean, you don't want to be really close to people. Why not be in a, I don't know what it is, 60 billion acre park?
Right. I mean, I don't think you get more socially distant than that. I think you could probably disappear in the woods and nobody would find you right away.
Absolutely. But anyway, I had a great time. Tulsa is one of those places where where you and I really need to just take a whole week.
Yeah.
And just do show after show.
And there's something, I know this is so cliche to say, but there's literally something for everyone in Tulsa. There really is.
100% agree with you.
And nothing against OKC. But if you're looking to get out of OKC without leaving the state's borders.
And vice versa, though. Let's be honest. If you're a Tulsan,
come to OKC.
You definitely need to spend a few days tooling around in Oklahoma City. We got a lot of cool stuff happening down here.
We do. But I'll tell you something else that's really cool. Our show. Our show is super cool. We're a couple of middle-aged guys. Dad bought hot rods. Just the two of us.
That is a horrible
Why is it
description
horrible?
of our show.
That we're dad bots? That we have dad bots?
Dod bod hot rod.
Dad bod hot rod?
Dad bod hot rods?
Yeah, man. We're a couple of cool older guys. Did you ever watch Kids in the Hall?
Yes, but I'm older than you, and I don't refer to myself as old.
I'm cool, and I'm 40. Remember that? I guess some people like to be sick. I like to be old. I like to, you young whippersnapper. I like to refer to myself as old. This generation's doing it anyway. I get called boomer all the time at work.
Okay.
Roll with it.
Okay, so I would say if you like the show, share it with a friend.
Yeah.
And more importantly, stay off our lawn.
Stay off our lawn unless you grew up with a boombox. That's all I'm saying.
This has been the Only in OK Show. I'm Harley.
I'm Brett.
We're out of here.
Peace.
I don't
care about earthly. Okay, John Lennon, I get it.
But I literally don't. It's not like I'm trying to channel my inner. There aren't a lot of things that I really care about collecting from a collection standpoint.
So you don't care about collecting anything. Desert Island, give me your go bag. This is all you get to use.
It's a broad question. Small nuclear reactor.
For what?
To power all of the equipment that I'm going to have there, because you
got
didn't give me a limit. You didn't give
a bag. What are you going to power with a nuclear reactor and a damn go? How big is your go bag?
Well,
man?
You didn't give me any dimensions.
A satchel.
Okay, a go satchel of normal human size.
Right, between a Indiana Jones and a freaking fanny pack.
Okay, then I'm gonna go with normal survival stuff. I'll have a knife,
flint, tinder. No, you have plenty of tinder.
I'll have plenty of tinder. I'll have some way to start a fire, something to cook in, something to hold water in, something to defend myself with, and probably a flare gun so I can get off the desert island.
But what if you don't have that choice?
What? It's in my go bag. My go satchel of normal size.
And you have one flare.
Yeah, so as soon as I see something that's flare-worthy, I'm shooting my flare.
What if they don't see you? Okay, one last question.
Oh, my God.
Desert Island meal. You can only eat these things. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. Go.
Like I get to pick something for each meal?
Yeah, and eat only that. And you can't say you'll decide to like fish. That's not going to work. It could be a kin steak and a Cheesecake Factory cheesecake for breakfast.
J-Dub breakfast.
Okay.
What do they call the stupid thing? The
Mac?
The Mac.
Okay.
For breakfast with coffee, unlimited bottomless coffee, and pizza for lunch from DeCentio's. And I'm going to go with White Dog Hill steak dinner. 3, 2, 1.
So I slammed my freaking hand in a door today.
It's a good way to start the show.
It's one of those, it's a bit, like our doors at the lumber entrance, but in the back, you open it manually because it's just easier and whatever. It's not easier, but it is. So I was pushing it closed, and I got it just about to the edge, and I was pushing here, pulling here, pushing here. My hand slipped, and I went, wham, and it still stings.
Why?
Why does it still sting, or why did I do it?
Both.
It stings because I slammed my hand in it. Why does it still sting, or why did it happen? Because I wasn't paying attention. All right, are you ready to go now? God, are you done quizzing me?
3, 2, 1, go.
I got pulled over today, too.
For what?
Going 35 and a 25. Wait, so let me just say it. I like to tell stories. I like details. So I see the cop. I'm pulling down Markwell. Just real quick story. I'm headed to Santa Fe. I know it should stop. So I'm pulling down. I see the cop. I get to the light. He starts pulling out of the church parking lot. And I'm immediately well, I'm probably going to get pulled over. So I do get pulled over. I pull into the parking lot quicker, more liquor. Comes to the car. He goes, afternoon. I said, let me guess. 35 and a 25. He goes, nope. 36 and a 25. Can we just call it 35? I mean, anyway, he let me off with a warning, but still, not to give me a slight edge at all. I mean, could you see him going, you're right on the money. Have a great day. Like I was trying to count jelly beans.
That would have been funny, actually.
Honestly. Anyway, 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Well, I've often been referred to as the center of the universe. I'm not drunk.
Dolphin.
Let me tell you a story.
Let me tell you about the time that I was a dolphin.
Kind of sound a little bit like Otis from Andy. I'm just going to lock myself up, Andy.
Andy, I was doing 35 in a 25.
36, Otis.
And I need to go to sleep in the cell.
And then you hear, Ange! Oh, Otis! All right. Ready? 3, 2, 1. I've often been referred to as the center of the universe, but that's only because I have a 6-month-old that thinks I walk on the moon. But we're not going to use that. I was using that to prime myself up for this part. 3, 2, 1.